What's up YouTube? For today's video, we have a full overpowered Pokemon team. Now this team is for Generation 1. If you'd like to see maybe more of these generations, we could go all of the generations, let me know in the comment section. This was the second highest voted team on the community tab. Thank you to all the people that did vote. Now people, I am streaming probably an hour on Twitch after this one. If you'd like to come along, I'm actually shiny hunting for Deoxys using a legitimate distribution Aurora ticket cart, which is a very, very rare thing to see. So if you'd like to come and support the stream, I'd love to see you there, people. We're going to be chilling out. We'll probably go for a few hours. So if you're a little bit late to this video, pop that second tab open. Link is in the top of the description there if you guys want to click through there and follow. Thank you to all the people that have become subscribers already and donated some bits. Thank you very much, guys. You are awesome, and I hope to see you there. All right, this is a battle on my Discord. This one was against Jake, and we have a Azelf lead. Now, I don't really like the matchup with Alakazam, basically because of the trashy moves that I'm using, so I had to kind of swap out there. So, let's get into Tauros. So, Tauros was a pretty dang good Pokemon in Generation 1 with Hyper Beam. Now, Hyper Beam, say if you fire off your laser in Gen 1, right, if you take the Pokemon out, you don't need to recharge, and also it was a physical move too, which made Tauros a very dang strong Pokemon. So, unfortunately, in Gen 7, we've got it as a special move, so I had to actually run a special set, which I didn't mind at all. So I tried to pick a couple of moves that they got in Gen 1 and work them with some movesets in Gen 7. I added a couple of other moves in there to make the sets a little bit more viable, but it was pretty fun. So we had Work Up, Hyper Beam, and Surf and Fire Blast on the set. Max Special Attack and Max Speed, Intimidate, and Firium Z with a Fire Blast. Unfortunately, Azelf is going to get rid of that, and now I'm going to swap in my Alakazam and finish it off with the Psychic. Now, this Alakazam set was pretty much trash, but this set actually was kind of decent in Gen 1. So Alakazam was it was actually fairly bulky in Gen 1 because the special stat was actually counted as the special defense stat too. So there wasn't any special defense stat, so special attack and special defense were the same thing. So say if you use Amnesia in Gen 1, you get a boost in your special stat, right, which would make it bulky and give it a lot of special attack. Now, it had very high special attack, as it was, and it also had high speed too, so Psychic was very, very strong on it. Now, basically on this set, I also had Reflect, which it used, and Recover as well, because it actually was bulky on the special side, and I gave it Miracle Wire so I could actually do some damage to Dark-type Pokemon. So now we've got the Hydreigon coming in, going for a friggin' Z Dank Pulse or something like that. It's going to take me all the way down to my Focus Sash. I've got the ability as Magic Guard, and obviously the item is Sash, as you just seen. Now we've got Hydreigon swapping out because now I can land a Psychic against it, and we've got the Metagross coming in. So Metagross was a Pokemon I was sort of worried about. I'm going to go for Psychic. Now, there really isn't a lot I can do here. I know there was a chance that Metagross could have Bullet Punch, but at the same time, I didn't really want to swap any other Pokemon into it. It's got the Quick Claw, and it's got to have the Meteor Mash. It's like, oh, okay, so I'm pretty, I'm happy that I didn't swap any other Pokemon to that. Alakazam is going to go down, but I guess it served its purpose. Alright, so now we're going to bring in my Nidoking. Now, Nidoking was a wonderful Pokemon in Gen 1, learning so many different moves and having good stats in itself as well. So I gave it a mix of moves that it could learn, like special and physical ones too, and kind of worked it in with a Gen 7 set. So we got Max Attack and Max Speed. We got Surf, Earthquake, Ice Beam, and Poison Jab, so like a fully mixed set. We've got ability as Sheer Force and item as Life Orb. So getting rid of that Metagross in one Earthquake was really, really nice. Now, interestingly enough, the Earthquake actually gets, outspeeds the Gengar. I was like, okay, this is maybe like a bulky Gengar or something, but it's got a Focus Sash. I'm like, what? Anyway, so it's got the Focus Sash there. It's going to live on 1 health, and now it's going to go for the Shadow Ball on my Nidoking. So I was like, well, I probably might be able to live this one like really badly. And I do, which was interesting. So I'm not sure what kind of set this was. Maybe it's like I don't even know, like a bulky, like Perish Song setter or something like that. I don't know what the set was because, I actually managed to outspeed it. So finishing off anyway with the Disrespect, Poison Jab. And now we got the Hydreigon coming back in. So really the best thing to do is to go for the Poison Jab. Now I had Max Attack, so I could have gone for an Ice Beam there, but I thought that would do some more damage because it had, Max Attack EVs and no Special Attack. So we got the Dank Pulse coming from the Hydreigon. That's going to take out my Nidoking. But, Nidoking did a superb job there. Definitely one of the best Pokemon on this team. Now we got the Jolteon. Now in Gen 1, Jolteon had pin missiles. I was like, I'm going to teach it pin missile and see if we can make a physical set. In Gen 1, it had very nice high speed, which and nice special too. Having a nice high speed stat gave it the chance of getting critical hits too, which was very, very good in Generation 1. Sort of like a better version of an Electrode. So we had Pin Missile, Wild Charge, Facade, and Iron Tail. Quick Feet is the ability and the item as Toxic Orb. So the Facade and Toxic Orb with Quick Feet work rather nicely. So I could run the Animate Nature on Jolteon too. Alright, so go for the Wild Charge on the Copperline, which is going to come in and go for the Close Combat on my Jolteon, and that's going to do a lot of damage, almost taking me out. However, I do have the Poison on me, and that's going to do some extra damage to me as well. So that's my Jolteon down, but I was pretty happy with how that one went. It was a nice, speedy Pokemon on this team. So we got 2 more Pokemon remaining. We've got to take out the Copperline and one other. So now we've got Executor. Executor was a very, very good Pokemon in Gen 1. Very bulky, a nice special, and it learned some pretty nifty moves too. It had like Leech Seed and Toxic. So obviously I worked this in with like a more common Executor set, which is pretty dang good. Definitely Nidoking and Executor were the best on my team. So on this one, we got Max Health, Max Defense, we got Leech Seed and Toxic and Psychic. I grabbed them for Gen 1, and I gave it my favorite healing move as the 4th one. We got the ability as Harvest and item as Citrus Berry. So now we got the Copperline down, we got the... Interestingly enough, we have the Heracross going for a Rock Tomb. It doesn't do a lot of damage to me, and it's going to drop my speed. So it's like, okay. Now I'm going to go for the Psychic on the Heracross. Does some big damage there, almost taking it out. And I'm going to get the Harvest back on my Executor. However, it doesn't actually kick in. Now we got the Heracross going for a Mega Horn. So I was like, okay, maybe they didn't think they'd be able to take me out in one Mega Horn. I'd say it would have, and that's my Executor down to. Definitely to a Mega Horn. Now, the Heracross has got Moxie, and it's going to get +1 attack. It's like crap. Now, the last Pokemon I've got is Dragonite. Now, Dragonite was a very good Pokemon in Gen 1. It had that really annoying Wrap Thunder Wave combo, so I wanted to make that in this as well. Now, we've got the Heracross going for the Rock Tomb. It's got a +1, but since it had low space power and I was running a max health Dragonite, I actually took that one, and I'm going to be able to go for the Wrap on the Heracross there. Now, this Dragonite was a very stally set. If I didn't have max health, I definitely would have gone down to that Rock Tomb, and the Heracross would have taken me out. However, I take it out with a Wrap, holding the Binding Band, people. More on that set later. Okay, people, thank you for watching the first battle, and let's get into the second one. This is actually a pretty good, interesting team. So we got another battle on my Discord. My Discord is located in the description too, people. You're welcome to come there. We got over like 3,000 odd people. So we got Alolan Ninetales as the lead. Now this is a battle against Moland on my Discord. We got the Tauros starting the battle off. So I thought, well, this is actually a pretty good opportunity here to go for a Fire Blast, well, Fire EMZ Fire Blast. So we got the Aurora Scumveil coming from the Ninetales. I'm going to set up my workup. So Tauros is a fairly decently bulky Pokemon for a sweeper. It's got some, it's got some fair bulk to it. So I thought, I'd be able to leave like one attack from this thing and then fire off my Fire Blast. However, we got the Ninetales swapping out, and we got another Pokemon coming in, people. We have a team here, another Alolan Ninetales. But that wasn't actually my worry going for the Fire Blast. You might be able to guess why. Anyway, so we got the +1 in special attack on my Tauros, and I've got my Fire Blast. Now, remember, there is an Aura Veil up on the field, which is going to make the opponent's side be able to tank hits a lot better. So going for my Inferno Scum Drive here. Now, this actually took a lot of people off guard. Like, I got like a lot of nice KOs with this set. So Fire Blast does a lot of damage there. If that Aura Veil wasn't on the field, I definitely would have taken it out in one shot. So now I can go for the Fire Blast again on Tauros. It misses, unfortunately, there. And now we've got the physical Ninetales. We've got an Aqua Tail. Now, I've actually run a physical Alolan Ninetales or Ninetales myself. Its physical side is absolute garbage. All right, so now I go for the Surf. It misses again. This is a Scumveil set. So this has Bright Powder and Scumveil on this Ninetales. So I've desperately got to take this one out. Now, I thought I've got to go for the Fire Blast or the Hyper Beam. Fire Blast thankfully hits on the Ninetales, and that's going to be enough to take out that snowy little problem. Man, I can't talk ever. I've used scummy sets like that. Okay, so we got the Hail stopping now, and now we got the Ninetales coming in. However, this is another Alolan Ninetales. Okay, so I've got Fire Blast still, and the Aurora Veil is actually still happening on the field. Plus, they're going to be able to set up the Hail again. So now we've got the Ninetales going for the Calm Mind. So like, okay, that's a bit of a problem. It's going to be able to set up on my Tauros. So that's going to get a +1 in special attack and special defense. And I'm going to hopefully land a Fire Blast and not another like scumbag set, hopefully. So landing that Fire Blast does a lot of damage. And guess what, guys? That takes it out with a crit. Obviously, that definitely mattered. There's no way I would have one-shotted that with like a +1 to special defense. Ninetales has a nice special defense stat too, and Taurus's special attack is basically us. So now we've got another Ninetales coming in here, the first Ninetales we've seen. They're going to do a double swap here, and they're going to go into another Ninetales. So it's a normal Ninetales now. So they've got, what their team was, they had 3 normal Ninetales and 3 Alola Ninetales. That was what I was saying at the start. I was a little bit worried to go for a Fire Blast because of the flash fire right. Okay, so firing off a laser at the Ninetales. The good thing about this, I guess, the hail being on the field is the Ninetales, well, the other Ninetales are going to take some damage from the hail too. All right, so it's going to be a physical attack going for the Flame Charge, boosting its attack. Its speed by 1 stage. So I'm guessing it's probably like Adamant Nature Ninetales, and you got the Flame Charge to make up for that speed not being around there. Okay, so I thought, let's go into Executor, see if I can go for a Psychic and take this out. I'm fairly confident I can live like most things that actually throws me, since I'm running a very bulky set. I was more worried about like an ice move from the Alola, like the remaining Alola Ninetales. Okay, so I'm eating up that Flame Charge rather nicely there, going for the Psychic. It does some big damage to the Ninetales, and that's going to be taken down by the Hail. So things are looking pretty good at the moment. I'm going to take a little bit of damage to the Hail too. So now I was thinking, since I got Executor on the field, this may draw out another Ninetales. Wow, guys, I did it. It drew one out. So now we got a Z move coming from the Alola Ninetales. Now this Ninetales, I'm guessing I was hoping it was a like more of a defensive set. If it was a special set, I'd definitely go down. However, it's going to use a Z Toxic there, and that's going to actually make that Ninetales bulky in defense. So it's a bulky set. Now, Ninetales also has like a bulky special defense set, so I'm like, this is going to be tricky. So I go for Psychic, does okay damage, I guess. Now, Executor does have a nice special attack stat. Even if you put nothing in special defense, special attack right, it's still very, very, offensive. Okay, so now we got a Flamethrower coming from the Ninetales. Now, this hits my Executor like really, really, really hard and takes it out there. So I thought they must have some kind of special move on their Ninetales. Okay, so the Ninetales troll there is going to take a little bit of damage from the hail there. And now I can send in my Nidoking. So Nidoking can freely go for the Earthquake here. I'm guessing, they've only got 3 more Ninetales left. And, they're probably think it's best not to swap them in there. So that's going to go down to an Earthquake from the Nidoking. So even with that +1 in defense, there was no way a Ninetales was going to live that with its bad defense and Nidoking's stab ground moves. So with this team, right, it actually forced me to use a lot of like more mainstream moves. Then some of them they didn't. So it's quite a hard team to actually get battles for, because I'd have looking at my Nidoking was decent and my Executor was pretty decent, but all the other Pokemon kind of trash. Okay, so we got the Alola Ninetales coming out there, going for a very, very bold Aurora Veil there. Poison Jab hits really hard there, almost taking it out. Okay, so the Ninetales is going to leave that one, and now it's going to go for the Blizzard. There was no hail up on the field, so that was very, very risky there. But obviously they had no choice. My Nidoking was like a huge threat to the team. Okay, so my Nidoking's down, and now we're going to go into my Dragonite. Now, they actually didn't explain this Dragonite very well. So we got max health and max special defense. So we got Thunder Wave, we got Wrap, we got Attract and Brew. So I had a female Dragonite, hoping I could snare some males in there, paralyze them and wrap them. So obviously in Gen 1, Wrap worked a lot different. It sort of like stopped you from attacking at all if you were faster. So if you weren't faster, you could just go for the Thunder Wave, right? Paralyze them and just keep spamming Wrap, and they couldn't do anything. You'd basically just take them out with Wrap. The battles, however, would be very, very long though. Okay, so now we got the final Ninetales coming in there. It's going to put the Drought on the field. Now, unfortunately for me, it's a female, so my strategy is not going to be able to work completely. I'm going to swap out my Dragonite and go into another Pokemon. So we got the Alakazam here. Now, Alakazam could at least fire off a Psychic against this thing. And we got the Ninetales going for the extra sensory. So I was wondering what it actually would do against my Dragonite. I was thinking it might go for Nasty Plot and try and set up on me. But it doesn't actually get the most amazing special moves like the normal Ninetales. It gets like Dark Pulse, Nasty Plot. It's got a Fire type move. Normally it's Flamethrower or Fire Blast. Okay, so I get hit so hard by the Flamethrower there. That Drought doing a lot of damage. Basically, my bulk special defense saves me there, getting off another Psychic against the Ninetales. Okay, so now we got the Ninetales going for the Hex on my Alakazam, and that one is down. But the Alakazam kind of served its purpose there and did some good damage to the last Ninetales. Okay, so my last Pokemon is the Jolteon. Hadn't brought this one back in I knew that I have enough speed to actually outspeed the Ninetales, and now I can go for the Stab Wild Charge, taking out the Ninetales there. And that one is game. Hope you guys enjoyed this second battle. A really, really cool team there. I thought I'd show that one. Nice with the Alolan Ninetales and the normal ones. Alright, so we got a third battle, people. This was a battle against Dark Poison 69 on my Discord, and we have a 2-cannon lead. Now, I led off with the Alakazam. Mostly I led off with Alakazam because, you know, if there was like a heavy counter there, or there's like a Dark-type Pokemon, I was kind of predict the Dark-type Pokemon coming in, go for the Miracle Eye, and then they thought, well, we might be able to one-shot the Alakazam, so we'll stay in, then I can get the Psychic off and live on 1 health. Alright, so now we've got a eject button on the 2-cannon, which is really, really interesting. I wonder what strategy they're actually running with that. I'm not too sure. I've got ideas, but I'm not 100% sure. Alright, so now we've got the Sabertooth coming in. I'm just going to go for Psychic again against the Vikavolt. Oh, guys, I actually need a drink. Okay, so now, while I'm having a drink, it's going to be bug buzzing me. Okay, so getting Bug Buzz all the way down to 1 health. I got my Focus Sash. Obviously, I knew a Bug-type move was coming my way. So now I can friendly go for the Psychic again on the Vikavolt, and none of the other Pokemon really wanted to come into a Psychic from Alakazam as well. That Alakazam also was max speed, max special attack, as most Alakazam are. Okay, so now we got the Lycanroc coming in. Obviously the Cell Rock was kind of obvious there, so I swapped my Alakazam out and thought, well, I might be able to use it later on to get, you know, 1 Psychic off, or maybe like clean up with it. So going into my Tauros, I thought this was quite a good thing. I can get the Intimidate off and maybe get a Work Up, and then go for a Surf Against it. Okay, so the Cell Rock is basically going to do donkeys to the Tauros, and we got the Lycanroc swapping out, obviously with that -1 attack, and Tauros being a fairly strong Pokemon. Okay, so we got the Sandcastle coming in, and boy, it had a Pasho Berry. Not only did it have a Pasho Berry, it had Water Compaction as well. So my Surf did donkeys, and it actually gave this a bolster in defense as well. So this was really, really bad. I was actually really worried about this Pokemon too. So looking at my entire team, if this was like a max health, max special defense, Palossand was like, crap, what am I actually going to do? I've got to swap my Executor in right here and go for the Toxic. I have to get a Toxic off against this thing. So it's going to go for the Earth Power. It's not going to do too much to my Executor. Hoping I can get this Toxic off on it and see if I can finish it off. Okay, so we got the Toxic off against the Palossand, which is really nice. Now, usually Palossand is quite a stally Pokemon, and now we got the Palossand going for the Shadow Ball, which is going to be super effective. That does way too much damage for a stally Palossand, and my Executor is going to go down. So this is more of a hyper-offensive Palossand. Okay, but the main thing is there, I did get the Toxic off in case it was like a stally, set that had Shore Up or something like that. Okay, if I was sure about that. So now swapping my Alakazam, doing the double swap here, hoping they go for the Shadow Ball and going into my Tauros. Unfortunately for me, people, they actually went for the Giga Drain. So getting that Intimidate off, and it's going to be Giga Draining my Tauros and getting its health back. So that's really, really sucked. I kind of hoped I could get like an extra round of Toxic on the Palossand and, do like another swap into another Pokemon. Okay, so basically I could go for the Surf here or burn off my Tauros. I decided, nah, I'm not going to burn off my Tauros. I'm going to go back into my Dragonite here, or back into my Dragonite to tank all the moves. However, we got a double swap here, and we got the Float Cell coming in. So I was like, what? And then the Float Cell came in. So now we got the Ice Punch coming from the Float Cell. Does big damage to me. I'm a multi-scale set there. I'm going to go for the Thunder Wave, and it lands on the Float Cell. So the good thing about getting a Thunder Wave on the Float Cell, number one, Float Cell is a very speedy Pokemon. So that's, I've slowed it down, and it's very frail as well, so you can normally take advantage of it. Okay, so now we're going to go for the Roost on the Dragonite. My idea here was basically to wait for the Float Cell to get paralyzed and then go for the Wrap combo. However, it does an Ice Punch, it doesn't do too much, so I was like, let's go for the Wrap here and let's get this one started. So going for the Wrap on the Float Cell, I've trapped it in there. I've got the Binding Band as the item. Now, if you guys don't know what Binding Band is, it's basically, as the item suggests, or the name suggests, it's an item that powers up binding moves. So like, bind, wrap, those kind of moves. Alright, so now I can go for the Attract because I've got my whole strategy set up here. So I'm going to attract that Float Cell. So it's paralyzed, it's locked in with the Wrap, and it's infatuated as well. So it doesn't have a greatest chance to attack. However, it gets through all of that and hits me with the Ice Punch. I can't believe that. Nani. Alright, so that's my Dragonite down. We've got 4 Pokemon remaining too. We've got 5 Pokemon to actually take out too. So we're going to go to Jolteon. I know that I can outspeed this. The problem is that freaking Palossand from before. Now, I thought about going for the Iron Tail against Palossand. Not that it would have done a lot of damage to it or anything. But in case I mispredicted or over-predicted, the Floatel would be able to take me out with like a waterfall or something like that. That Floatel was actually... Actually, that Floatel hasn't even gone down yet. So, yeah, we got the Iron Tail on the Palisand. It doesn't do a lot of damage. At this point, I was like, well, Palisand is going to wall my Jolteon. We've got the Accel Rock that could come from the Lycan Rock. That's going to destroy me. So, I might as well go for Iron Tails against this. Let the Toxic rack up and, just revenge kill it with one of my other Pokemon. Alright, so going for the Iron Tail again. I actually hit 2 in a row, which is kind of nice. And we got the Earth Power going for the Palisand. I'm guessing the first time they thought I'd, like, swap into another Pokemon as well and not keep my Jolteon in. Alright, so Jolteon goes down. We got 3 Pokemon remaining, and we got the Palisand only on a little bit of health. I can finish it off with anything. So going into my Alakazam here, I thought, well, let's go into the one health Alakazam and go for the Psychic and see what we're going to do there. Now, the only thing I was worried about is, well, for the Floatzel, it's got Aqua Jet, or the Lycan Rock is going to come and go for the Accel Rock, or they could just bring the Lycan Rock in and go for a different move. So I was thinking it might be too obvious for them to go for the Accel Rock, so I stayed in, and they're going to go for the Accel Rock. So okay, that's fine. Alakazam was on its last legs anyway. So we got the Tauros left, and we got my other Pokemon. Now, Nidoking wouldn't actually get swapped in until right at the end of the battle, and boy, did it help me out so much. Okay, so now we got the Lycan Rock going for the Drill Run against me. The only thing I was worried about, right, was a critical hit. Thank goodness that one didn't happen. And here am I actually able to go for the Earthquake, and this is going to do a lot of damage to the Lycan Rock. Now, the only problem about using Earthquake on my Nidoking was, right, I had a Sheer Force Life Orb set, and Earthquake doesn't get a boost from Sheer Force, and actually does damage to me, just allowing me to live on 9 health. Okay, so now we got the Floatzel coming out. I was very, very worried about Aqua Jet. I had to swap with my Tauros. I couldn't take that risk. Okay, so into the Tauros. Now, the Tauros does have Intimidate as well. And I thought, well, this would be a good chance to see if it does have Aqua Jet. I know that I can leave probably 2 of them and try and take it out with a Hyper Beam. Okay, so now we got the Ice Punch coming from the Floatzel. It didn't take me out. And obviously, it does have the Aqua Jet. Firing off that laser into the Floatzel there. It leaves. I was like, what? And it actually has Assault Vest. So the Assault Vest Floatzel, very, very interesting, as it's going to take me out with the low kick. Man, all I've got left now is the Nidoking, which is on 9 health. And we've got 3 Pokemon remaining. So now I'm going to go for the Ice Beam just to finish it off with a little bit of disrespect. Now, there was a Pokemon that could have come into that, so that's why I went for the Ice Beam. Plus, I knew it would be enough to take out Floatzel. Anyway, so Floatzel is going to go down. And now we got the Lady Lumps coming in, which is a Serena. So we got the Poison Jab for this. I was wondering if I could actually outspeed this, and I do. And that is definitely not going to be able to live that one. I'm running Max Attack, and we've got the Life Orb with Sheer Force as well. And that one is down. The last Pokemon is the Toucannon. Now, Toucannon, if you remember, got hit earlier on the game, but got ejected by the eject button. It only had a little bit of health left, so I could go for the Poison Jab and actually take it out. It's gonna heat up its beak, people, and I'm gonna go for the Poison Jab against it. It's only got a little bit of health left, and I'm gonna hit that and take it out with the Poison Jab. I do get burned, but before the burn's gonna kick in, the Toucannon is gonna go down, and that is the game. Hope you enjoyed this one, people. Hope you enjoyed all 3 battles. I'll see you at stream. Peace.